After fans screamed for blood after the cancellation of Prey 2, it was to wonder what Bethesda would do with the Prey franchise. Arkane was hired to basically conceive a somewhat reboot of the franchise. This infuriated fans, including myself, who wanted Prey 2 to release. With that said, the new Prey is out. We've had a chance to play it, and here is our continuation of the franchise review of Prey.
Ms. Yu, please make yourself comfortable and we'll be on our way. Here we are, Ms. Yu. Mind the glass on the way out. Good luck to you.
Upon beginning Prey, you will have a choice to either choose a male Morgan Yu or a female Morgan Yu, which is definitely an appreciated choice here in an RPG. However, you can't really customize Miss Morgan Yu or Sir Morgan Yu. They have their own default preset, which is acceptable considering that the linear structure of the character is already there, so there's no real need of modifying the physics of it. However, adding some modifications to the characters to give a certain sense of freedom to the player would have been appreciated, but at the same time is really not necessary for this interpretation of Prey. You wake up from bed, you suit up for work, you enter your helicopter lift, and you realize that you have some tests that need to be done. Eventually, one of the workers gets killed by a black petrolic insect? I'm not too sure. Upon this, you wake up again, but things seem different. The stage doesn't look all that well designed, and eventually you pick up a wrench and smash your window and you realize that this is a simulation. Upon exploring a bit more and seeing more of those petrolic creatures, you realize that they're mimics that can shape into objects. Depending on the difficulty that you choose, let's say on easy, the mimics you'll have an easier time to spot them. On hard, they'll be pricks. They'll hide its boxes, health supplies, you name it, and they'll just jump at you. With that said, you figure out that you're in a station called Talos 1. Your name is Morgan Yu. You were one of the head persons of the experimentations that were going on through this ship. The story is strolled to audio logs and exploration. Every body is named, every victim had a purpose on the ship, and you are a survivor trying to figure out what went wrong. Realizing that the game doesn't hold your hand at all, you're free to explore the Talos 1 ship at your pacing. Certain areas are scripted, of course, but the majority of it is not. If you want to go to a door that is not specific to an objective, you can. If you want to loot a body and find a side quest to it, you can. If you want to do side questing and not do the main mission, you can. There's a certain sense of freedom in Prey that we've rarely seen in a video game these days. Of course, it is a clone of System Shock, and it is very reminiscent of BioShock as well. However, it doesn't really hinder the experience at this point, because Arkane has crafted a game that is really on par with the quality that you'd expect in this type of exploration RPG-esque space horror game. Audio logs do a great job in emphasizing the quality of the game. Through your campaign, upon exploring Talos 1, you'll find some recording devices left and right that you'll pick up. Those will give you a story structure of a few characters that used to live in Talos 1. The voice acting is on par with what you'd expect. The level design as well is worth mentioning, as it was a key highlight of the original Prey. In this new iteration, however, it's all about scavenging and exploring. However, the whole ecosystem of the maps is so well designed that you'll actually want to take a look at every inch and little pieces that it has to offer, from climbing ledges to checking under tables to lifting up lamps and pitching them just to be sure that you haven't missed everything. Enemy design as well is worth mentioning due to the game offering a lot of variety to them. You'll have your typical smaller range mimics to bigger ones. You'll even have nightmare mimics which will try to kill you. You'll have 2 minutes to either take them down or run away, which gives a horror experience to it. You'll find rooms and eventually you'll try to pick up items. The items will jump. You'll wonder what's going on until you realize that it's a mimic jumping in your face. The game has a great sense of atmosphere. Even though the music plays when there's an enemy, depending on the difficulty you choose, of course, you'll never know exactly where the enemy is, and you'll wonder when is the time or what item should I shoot to basically survive the encounter. Later on, however, you will find a psychoscope. The psychoscope, depending on the microchip that you equip on your character, you'll be able to detect what item is a mimic, and that will be a useful feature which will give an easier time to the player once they reach that. However, you have to remember to use the psychoscope, and at some points in the game you'll forget to use it and the enemies will still jump at you. The gameplay, the weapon design, all of it comes off strong. The recoil impact of each weapon, though there aren't that many of them, does work well. Aiming does feel like a rewarding experience, and the more you'll upgrade your build and Prey, the better you'll be at killing mimics. However, upgrading your build is all about choices, and choices is one of the strongest elements of this game at hand. You can either go with Typhoon powers, which are mostly diabolical powers, such as transforming into a coffee cup, a bench, a toilet paper, a tissue, you name it, you can transform into it. There are other abilities at hand, such as mind control. There's also the human side that you can go to with human points, which will basically give you standard abilities that are more reminiscent of builds usually, such as better weapons, to capability of lifting heavier objects, to the more stamina, more health, better defense. However, choice is all about the key center of this title. So let's say you go with Typhoon power. Well, the turrets are gonna consider you as an alien, and yes, they will shoot you. Turrets are present in the game. However, if you decide to ignore the diabolical aspect of the character and decide to be a real true human, the turrets could be used to your advantage so that you can take down enemies with an easier time. Like this, you can conserve your ammo and so on. So choice is definitely there, and luckily, it plays out well. You'll pick up junk through your journey of Prey, from tissues to flowers. Eventually, you'll meet up with a recycling bin, which will pretty much be your best friend in Talos 1. You'll put in items that you will basically think is useless and transform them into molecules. With those molecules, what you'll be able to do is that you'll be able to craft schematics that you find throughout your exploration of Talos 1s. These schematics can range from wrenches to bullets to health packs to armor repair packs, you name it, you can craft it. Picking up everything will be a huge benefit to the player. There are a lot of PC controllers these days, ranging from the Xbox One to the PS4 to the even highly popular Steam controller. Thankfully, Prey is very controller friendly and supports a built-in controller interface for the Steam controller, which for one I believe is a great approach for Steam games, and more devs should actually follow that example. The pre-configuration for Prey is really good and is easy to configure. You won't need to force yourself into modifying the configuration to your your liking, Arkane has done the job for you, which a lot of devs don't do these days. So this is definitely a positive highlight for Arkane on that matter. A few weeks ago, Bethesda released a demo of Prey. The reason why I'm mentioning it in my review is that Bethesda ignored the demo for PC. It did infuriate some PC gamers because they actually wanted to try the demo to see if their PC rig can run it. Arkane responded by saying the demo will be you'll buy the game and you'll try it out, and if it doesn't work on your rig, then you can get the Steam refund. I for one believe that this approach is total bullshit. However, with that said, I had the privilege to finish and play Prey, and I must say that optimization wise the game ran pretty well. I was able to play a good 70% of it with the old Nvidia drivers, not the ones that are recommended for Prey, and I was able to run Prey at 100 frames per second. I do have a good rig, however, but that's pretty good. Once I updated to the recommended drivers, I went up to 130 frames per second, which is again pretty good. From what I read in forums, people with old rigs and old CPUs are capable of running this game. So Arkane did do a good job with the optimization, thankfully. The problem is that again the PC gamers are being treated like beta testers. Now, for the case of Prey, it's not that of a big deal because the game was well optimized and PC gamers didn't have to go through the whole refund thing or the frustrating aspect of waiting 2 weeks before you can play a game, but neglecting a demo for the PC fanbase is not the way to go, Bethesda or Arkane. With that said, the only reason I'm mentioning it right now is to inform the consumer that the game does run well on PC. Well crafted, well executed, and ultimately a great experience. System Shock, damn it, BioShock, Doom RPG. Did I just... Prey gets a 9.2 out of 10.